Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever on the road podcast with me and Sam. I was going to try and do his surname then,
Blanchet,
but I forgot it.
That's all right. You're
Right,
doing
Sam,
enough
so
now.
obviously we're on the Cateran Yomp today,
Yeah,
chewing the fat,
chewing the fat.
and you dropped it into the conversation that you're ex-professional rugby player.
Just slid it in.
Slid it in, like you were in my DMs.
Yeah.
So, talk us through it. What happened? How did you start with your rugby?
Started quite young actually. Most people doing the kind of sports end up doing. I kind of started at age 10. Went through the academy system at Exeter. I grew up in the southwest. Got a professional contract there. Played sevens for England. Then I had to retire. I had too many concussions.
Right.
So something I was really interested in was going to the Olympics, with seven being an Olympic sport. So I ended up in bobsleigh of all sports.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I represented.
So how did that come about?
It was a they call them talent transfer days, but they're basically days set up by. Thanks.
Cheers.
The English.
Yeah, not too
Yeah,
bad.
good, thank you.
Oh.
There's salt trap, you
Gun
put it in
this.
the water, there's sun cream if you need
Cheers.
it.
Thank
Nice
you very
one.
much.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Medic,
All
bottle
good.
waters, cake.
Thanks, mate.
Cool. Right, do you want to continue this after?
I'll continue. Yeah, let's do it after.
Right, we'll restart this. I'll pause it.
So basically, the English Institute of Sport, I think they've been rebranded now, but they're in charge of Olympic sports in England. They do these talent transfer days for athletes looking to kind of move into other sports. They're very kind of generic, like physical testing days. But it turns out the sport I was kind of most suited to was bobsleigh of all sports.
Nice. So what position did you play in rugby?
I played loads of positions. So at school, a lot of back row. Played a lot of centre and wing.
Did you play back row just because you were the best player in the team?
No, I just my younger brother played as well. He played for Canada actually, and we just like we grew up fighting a lot. We were like a similar age, so we ended up being quite good at the defensive side of the game. So kind of ended up in that position from a very young age. And then, went to sevens and then basically did a bit of a position change, moved out to the backs for a bit. Thought it would kind of preserve my career a bit because I was getting a lot of concussions at that point, but it didn't. So, yeah, ended up in bobsleigh and then did that for 4.5 years. So
what's the training like for bobsleigh?
So, mate, it's really easy actually. It's a lot of weightlifting, a lot of sprinting, like short distance stuff, and just a lot of plyometrics. So no kind of cardio element, which is nice. Not having to do the test anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're just basically maximising your strength, your speed, trying to get as big as fast as possible.
So how quickly, how often would you go down to the track then?
So
Or is it called a track?
Yeah, so basically in the UK we don't have any tracks, I'm sure you can imagine. So I don't know if you've been to Bath Uni.
No.
You haven't?
Surprisingly.
Yeah. There is basically around the side of the university near the sports training village, there's a special facility that we use. And it's basically a bobsleigh on rails essentially. So it's the very start of the track, and that's where we practice our kind of pushing in the summer.
Right.
And then the way it normally goes is we then go out on season in kind of late September, early October, and then start training. The pilots get their practice in on the ice, they learn how to drive again, and then that's the way it goes. It's very kind of it's cyclical, but we kind of spend 6 months of the year, 5 months of the year away from home, so it's fun, but it's a young man's game, definitely.
How old are you now?
30. Tough paper around.
Still young.
Yeah, don't feel it.
So
But today,
how are you getting on with today?
yes, mate, it's been fun. I was saying to the guys, like physically, it's not that tough because it's that kind of zone 2 easy aerobic work. It's just just my feet are just taking an absolute pounding right now.
What sort of training did you do for this?
Probably not the right ones.
Well, I noticed you've got brand new shoes in the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that as well. So I did get good trail shoes, but I probably didn't wear them enough, and my feet started paying for it.
And the price.
Yeah.
You
You
doing
seem
gold?
fine there. Yeah, doing golf.
Yeah, this is.
Easy.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I did change my boots, to be fair. Again, the same. I didn't really wear them that often.
Yeah.
But these are my gym shoes. Like,
Yeah.
I wear them all the time. Like, they're comfy out.
Yeah.
As soon as I seen this rain, obviously with the weather and that, I was like, yeah, cheers, easy. I'll change into these.
It's a nice day.
And then and these are nice to get a decent tan on my legs as well.
There you go, mate. Extra
Yeah.
perks.
Is that anything else for the people?
Anything else? Any tips for me?
Any
Get through
advice?
this, yeah.
Any tips for you?
Yeah.
From me?
Yeah, the expert.
Just stay strong in the head. Just ignore it. Whatever pain you're going through now, in a week's time, you'll laugh at it.
Yeah.
It's not going to last. But if you don't complete this, your mates will let you know you didn't. And they
Don't worry
will
about that.
continue to.
I will finish
Of course.
it.
It's like me, but like with my old man.
Is that your dad?
Yeah. If I don't finish this,
You won't live it down.
not until I come in next year and do it. But even then, he'll still be like, yeah, but you failed it the first time.
Yeah. Does he do it every year?
No, this is our first year.
Is it? Was he military as well?
Yeah, RAF is RAF.
Nice.
Many moons ago.
So what was your story?
My story.
Yeah.
Joined the army when I was 17. I was in there for 5 years. First 2 years of being in the army, I pretty much just played football.
Nice.
I was in like all the army teams for my age, core team,
Yeah.
like everything.
Yeah.
So I was just tracksuit soldier.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah. And then I started playing rugby as well.
Nice.
I was playing rugby for my regiment
League or
and
union?
then my uni. And my gaffer said to me, "Oh, look, you're having fucking all the time off in the world
Yeah.
as it is, and now you want to play rugby as well." He said, "You can't do both, you've got to pick one." I was like, "Well, I'm near enough having all the time off anyway for football, so
Yeah.
I'll stick with that."
Yeah. Quite big for a footballer.
And then I never used to be that big. I played semi-professional.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. For
Again, S&L Corby,
who? Yeah.
they're Stuart and Lloyd's
Nice.
in UCL Prem. It's
Yeah.
only £50 a game, but
Still getting paid to do something you love, right?
semi-professional. And yeah, and it was good. But it all sort of come to a head. I had a kid pretty young. Then I left the army.
Yeah.
I was out for about a year. Then I joined the RAF. Had another kid. Got fat. And then left the military pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So sort of 16 stone. And then for the last 4 years done nothing.
Yeah.
And then in that last sort of year and a half, I said to myself, well, actually, you're 18 stone, boy, and you're not even 6 foot tall, so you need to rein it in a bit. So yeah, so then I went on a mad sort of fitness venture.
Yeah.
Did a triathlon last year, and then yeah, just do shit like this now.
Nice.
Just keep fit, something to aim for, stuff like that.
I think it's definitely something I'm going to do more often.
But yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
not
everyone
this
that
distance.
listens to the podcast has heard this story 1,000 times.
No, I haven't. So.
Yeah, no.
Okay, here's a
course.
question. How did you find your transition out of the military?
My transition
find-
out of the military.
Yeah, because for athletes,
question.
you kind of struggle to find purpose after it because you're so single-minded doing one thing your entire life, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden that's kind of gone.
That's true, 100% true.
Imagine it's probably some of you.
Right, if I stop messing about with that. No. Play balls. What the New technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
First time, is it?
Yeah. First time out the box. So, I mean, it wasn't too bad for me. I mean, when I left, especially when I left the RAF,
Yeah.
I had a job lined up. That was the reason that I left.
Yeah.
Just crossing the street here, kids. Yeah, I had the job lined up. That was the reason I was leaving.
Yeah.
So I went through the motions with like the resettlement stuff, all the rest of it. I just went on the courses that I, sort of had to do, or
Yeah.
just to get out as quick as possible. I left as soon as I could.
Did you not enjoy it anymore?
And then I just got to a point in my life where my last tour that I did,
Yeah.
out of area,
Yeah.
was Cyprus
Okay.
in the fuels depot.
Yeah.
So I was only out there for 3 months, and I'd not long had a kid, so 2 kids at that point.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was out there,
Yeah.
I still wanted to be at home, and it was the cushiest job you could have. Like I only worked like 2-3 days a week,
Yeah.
and I was out on the piss all the time.
Yeah.
But still, I just want to be at home. I don't want to be doing this.
Makes sense.
And that's as good a tour as you can get.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was for me. I was just like, look, I do enjoy it, but just doing the out of areas and stuff.
Do you have a
Like
plan for what you wanted to do after? Or were you just like, I'm done, fuck it?
Yeah, I was done with it, and I just wanted to do the job that I'd, been offered.
Yeah.
The money was way more than I was on in the military.
Yeah.
And the sort of chance for promotion, and that was always on the cards, which I did get. I took that after 6 months.
Yeah.
Got promoted up, heading up my own team of like 10 engineers. And then I just came to a head with the operations manager with it, so
Fair enough.
that went to pot, and just moved around with jobs really. But
How
I
did
know
you
what you're
end up
saying.
doing this?
Podcast?
Yeah.
I was just listening to Joe Rogan one day, to be honest, and he was interviewing people,
Yeah.
and I just thought, I like talking, I like listening, I like learning. So why don't I start a podcast and see where it goes? I said to my old man, I said, even if we only get one person listening,
Yeah.
that's still one more than none.
Yeah.
And if no one listens to it, like, I'll still be doing it. Do you know what I mean? I can still talk
something
to
you
people.
enjoy. Yeah.
Like I've talked to you.
Yeah.
I want to find out more about you and everything else.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have, because we're doing this walk, but
Yeah.
in normal day-to-day conversations,
Never come across each
like
other.
there'll be certain stories you wouldn't know about your mate,
Yeah. He's a submariner actually.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
And it's like that sort of stuff. I had someone on the podcast that I was mates with for 2 years.
Yeah.
We just used to go out drinking together.
Yeah.
I had him on, we spoke for 2 hours, and I learnt more about him in the 2 hours. It's throwing a fit again. I
send it
learnt
back.
more about him in the last 2 hours, in them 2 hours, than I did for the 2 years that we were out drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Have you got any advice for the people out there?
In what sense?
Any sense, whatever advice you would like to give, maybe your younger self, or someone that has aspirations of being a professional sportsman?
I think sports there's a lot of luck involved. You need to have opportunities go your way. You need to hit the kind of genetic lottery to a certain degree, but working hard actually increases your chance of getting lucky. And I had a lot of setbacks in my career, and mostly through injuries, but I think I kept getting opportunities because I kept working hard and kept my head down. And actually, since I transferred out of it and I've now got a normal job, that kind of mindset, as I'm sure is the same with you, sets you apart from a lot of people, that discipline.
Yeah.
So probably the same that most people say, but hard work gets you a lot of luck and a lot of chances, and it's
Hard work opens many doors.
hard work and a bit of discipline, and also not just getting disheartened every time you get a no or you start failing at something. Eventually the doors do open.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for talking on the podcast today,
Pleasure.
Sam.
Pleasure.
It's a nice little, nice opener to
Thanks
be fair.
for
my first one.
taking my mind off my blisters.
100%. Right, thank you for listening, everybody.